Welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. It's Monday. That means it's Jim Day. Big Jim Failla is here.
Boom!
Fresh off your third Fox News Saturday night.
Imagine that.
How's it going?
Do you know how many people lost money in Vegas?
Larry Kudlow was kind of stalking your office looking for money.
Larry's had a lot to say. Okay, so Larry crashed a segment. He sent in a video question asking how the F I got a TV show. And of course, there's a good answer that can't be said on the air because it's true. So, say what you want about low-level extortion, blackmail, and whoo, this got a little dicey. But I'd like to think we're 3-0. So far, so good. Obviously, we're going to risk it all when you come on. So I don't, there is a story for the American people, by the way, that they're not going to hear till you're on the show as to why you haven't been on the show yet. And it's probably going to be the last episode of the show. It's not bad. It's not bad. There is something very specific to the world. That's something you and I did that you'll remember the minute I say it to you that will make sense in the moment. And you're going to appreciate it so much.
I can't wait.
No, but we're probably going to get fired. It's so good.
I can't wait. No, I really can't wait because we've been through a lot of shenanigans. And one of the funnest things this summer when we were on the last Liberty tour was talking about how your book was coming together.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were writing chapter after chapter in order, which I thought was very impressive. It's the
Cancel Culture Dictionary.
Exactly right. And from A to Z.
An A to Z guide to winning the war on fun.
Which, I'm sorry, but 2017 Jimmy Failla might have gone A through F.
You don't know. You don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not a dictionary. I just think they put dictionary in the title because they thought I needed to read one. They're like, well, we did see the writing samples here. But we wrote that. Essentially, I was writing it in airports.
Yes.
On the road. That was when the best moments were to write. So hotels and stuff like that. So a shout out to La Quinta.
Yes.
and Homewood Suites.
And Home 2 Suites.
Home 2 Suites.
Because there would be times where I'm like, hey, Jim, there's an ice cream shop in Davenport. Should we go get ice cream?
And you have to get her ice cream. She's the Joe Biden of, co-headliners. When you headline a comedy tour with Kennedy, you're actually with Joe Biden. There's ice cream. There's naps. You go to the beach. It's the Biden presidency.
A lot of times throughout the summer, I'd be like, let's go. And you're like, I have to write for the next 2 hours.
I'll never forget that one.
And you really crushed through because a lot of the stuff in the book had to be timely.
Yeah. Time sensitive.
Looking back, are you amazed how many people have been canceled?
Oh, it's what's funny about it though? I'm not shocked by that because when cancel culture became a thing, and all it really was social media, the incentivized outrage era. We were getting out of bed every morning. They'd be like, oh, they're firing a FedEx guy. You're like, why? He called
because he said, I've got a package for you.
Yeah, he said something.
Like, that language triggers me because I think about people.
That's not right. So in the beginning, when it was first happening, people didn't know what it was when it was new. They were literally, it felt like we're like, all right, who are we pretending to be mad at today? That was a popular tweet. And we didn't know what it was. And I think most people just got out of the way. They didn't necessarily engage in it, but they empowered it by getting out of the way and letting it become a thing.
And letting the very loud, small mob
it was always a tyranny of the minority.
Tyrannize everyone.
One of the running jokes when we first met that a lot of us would make on the air is like whenever we were doing a story, say it was like a red eye story, okay? And it would be like, somebody wrote an article about how people are outraged. We're like, this is a lazy reporter, you guys, who found 2 tweets and is hanging a news story on people are outraged. And over the course of time, those stories went from 2 tweets to it became trendy to be outraged because you had this virtue that came from feigning that outrage. And that's what I think ultimately cancel culture is. It's cultural arson. It's like you set fires where we didn't need one. We didn't need to police comedy with the same tenacity that we police the speech of like politicians. Comedians shouldn't be held to those standards. The same thing with movies. It's like, so we went to places where we would escape. And we're like, no more escaping. This cast isn't diverse enough. How could you possibly escape at a moment like this?
Yeah, what could go wrong here?
These 30 people with eating disorders that are making $30 million each should be more diverse. I want more diversity in our eating disorders in Hollywood.
Yes. There really wasn't a lot of diversity in Barbie.
Oh.
But they made it seem like the Oscar Academy had to be canceled because they didn't nominate Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig.
And that is the end result of the cancel culture psychology, which is that nothing can happen in society now without being the product of some type of bias. okay? The reason the cast of Barbie didn't get nominations is because the movie sucked. They nominated other women. And let's be clear, because
that's something that they don't focus on.
Yeah.
Is like, yes, there was another woman
who got a nomination,
a Best Director nomination.
It
turns out there was more than one other actress who was nominated in the Best Actress category. It happens they had better performances than Margot Robbie.
Yes, but this is where the additional outrage is. This is how they manufacture hysteria. They make it sound like the Academy had to choose between Ryan Gosling or Margot Robbie. They're in completely separate categories. He got nominated over other men. He didn't get nominated over her. She's in a female category. And that's the part that I think is so absurd, is that, the people who would be behind cancel culture are also the ones who would support a biological man beating a woman in a female athletic competition.
Mm-hmm.
But a biological man winning against other biological men, they're like, hell no! The patriarchy or something. Oppression. And that's stupid. It's unmoored. So this is all I will say, and I don't mean to hug, okay? What the book is trying to do, humorously, okay, is reset our compass so we fight the right battles.
Yes.
Give an example. Washington Redskins, my favorite chapter in the whole book. And I interviewed the members of the tribe.
And I had no idea where that name came from the story behind it until your book.
So here's the story, guys. The Washington Redskins logo was donated to the NFL and the Washington Redskins, specifically the team anyway, which was then the Braves, by a Native American tribe. The image you see on that helmet is not a costume. That was a real man who was the chief of the Blackfeet tribe. They were the Redskins because it was considered the highest honor as a warrior to paint your face red and lead the tribe into battle. They had previously been the Boston Braves, but Boston had a baseball team called the Braves. It's the last place Babe Ruth played in the major leagues. And the football owner wanted to distinguish the football from the baseball, so he's like, we need a new name. They're like, we'd like to be honored as the Redskins. So Native Americans wanted to be called the Redskins, and they considered it a form of inclusion, because if you look around, it's not a lot of Native American symbolism anywhere other than the Elizabeth Warren campaign. Where are you going to find it? So what happened was this tribe that donated the likeness gravitated towards the team as like, hey, these are our guys. And that's why tribes like the Florida State Seminoles made a deal with Florida State. They wanted to be included. The Atlanta Braves, the Kansas City Chiefs, because they didn't look at it.
The Cleveland Cowards.
Oh my God, are they the worst? I mean, guardian. A guardian is someone you say, you're not my real dad. That's who your guardian is. You're not my mom. I don't have to take this. That's what a guardian is. It's not authoritative in any way. No. But the point I'm trying to make is
nor brave, nor protective.
But no one chose a Native American mascot 50 years ago because they were mocking the culture. They thought it was cool. They thought it was fierce. Sports is about that type of messaging. But the bigger argument in the book is not that. It's that this does nothing to help Native Americans.
No, all it does is we are now wiping out all symbols
they just don't exist now.
That might spurn curiosity.
That's the point.
Where people might go, oh, I wonder where this is from. I want to read about the Lakota tribe.
And when you think about this, they have the shortest life expectancy, the highest rate of diabetes, heart disease, and illiteracy. And alcoholism, they're like top two, but my Irish people, we're not going to give up the belt without a fight, literally a fight. You know how we roll. But the point is, none of the things we were doing with the halftime show were making those conditions worse, and changing the halftime show doesn't make it better. No. And that's the argument being made in the book.
And the book is fantastic. Cancel Culture Dictionary. Jimmy Failla. So if you love Jimmy's voice on the radio, it's totally different. And, you and I have talked about this. When you write, you use a different part of your brain. Mm-hmm. But people, if you write well and if you write true to your voice, people can hear your voice when they're reading your words, which you absolutely can when you read the book. Yep. It's fantastic.
It's a 6-hour hostage situation. And now you're stuck in my little book here, And if there was any doubt, I said this to one of the executives here that we both love and cherish, Jay Wallace. Mm-hmm. I talk to him very infrequently, but you see him, once in a while. It's like the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. Somebody brings it into a diner.
The only time I see him is when we have those restraining order hearings.
Yeah, that's what it was. My ankle bracelet had gone off. I was like, I didn't realize I was that close to your office. But anyway, I said to him, if there was any doubt over whether I really attended community college, it'll all go out the window when you read this book. Oh, no, he went. Oh, no, definitely. It's a proud
monosyllabic, very short sentences. Says the same thing
At
over
one
and
point,
over
I
again.
just traced my hand. It's a great chapter. You're going to love it. H is for hand.
My hand was canceled. All right, Jim, thanks for coming by. Have a great week.
The best.
This has been Kennedy Saves the World along with Jimmy Failla. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.
Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.